What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets REACT, and we're back with another video. What we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. So excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Yes, but before we do that, man, we definitely want to give a huge shout out to our Australian supporter, Lucas, sliding our DM with a powerful video.
Yes, so this video is actually about Lucas's family.
Yes.
So we want to first acknowledge the indigenous people of Australia. We do not know what to expect, but we do know that there's some sensitive things in this video.
Yeah, and because of YouTube rules and whatnot, we will be blurring out a few things if it gets to that level. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you guys enjoy the video with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what it's about. It's very different for us.
Let's get it. It's like giving like first 48.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Drive
like
down
the
a
Lifetime
dark country road at night. Watch how the light hits the trees. It feels otherworldly. It's another place. Bowraville feels like that. And what happens in these places, people disappear and they're never seen again.
Oh no.
I know people ain't coming forward.
Well, we know that the three of them have been murdered. You can't understand why.
I was scared. I was just really, really scared for him. She's like a puff of smoke that just disappeared. Somebody seen something.
Always.
I know it.
Always. Crazy thing about that bar, somebody seen something that's like, even if you don't know if this person's up to no good, you seen them. Because we can walk past somebody every single day, like, not even realizing they got this thing going on in their house. Ooh,
yes,
somebody
like,
seen something.
when people, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too much.
All right, let's get it.
Some of this, as the families are, it's ruined my life.
I think everybody's got a lot of secrets.
See, they say no country for old men. No initiation days, so I can never be a grown man. Oh, see, they say no country for old men. No initiation days.
Welcome to Bowraville, population 2,500, the postcode is 2449.
Everybody hit the ground, everybody too late, mate.
There's only the one little main street. It's like a little forgotten town, sorta, I guess.
No initiation days, so I can never be a grown man. Oh, see, they say.
Just up here, we're coming up to the police station. Back in the day when everything happened, we really got no help from the police. They just said that our kids went walkabout.
And just up here on the right is the Barra Theatre. Back in the day, that was segregated, and the blacks had a separate entrance to it, and we were forced to enter on the side and sit down on the dirt. The roots of racism run deep in Barra.
I'm so wise, boy, but I never ate.
The white people live in town, and the black fellas are out at the mission. The Barra mission is just tucked away, out of sight and just out of town.
Okay, so we are in this town, and we have learned about this town so much, and already we can make a connection to the history part.
Nah, 100%.
Right, and that is why on our channel we have tried our best to talk about like indigenous communities, especially Black communities all over the world, because as African Americans, we were in school, we were not taught about other places in the world going through these things. So that puts in our mind that we were the only ones going through this in America.
Nah, facts.
Right?
Yeah.
They said they had to go through the
And
side door.
Yeah, and sit outside.
Right.
So
just to eat.
Uh-huh.
Just to watch a movie.
Yeah.
You know, so
but it's what's highlighted in today's time, and as well as back in the day. Back in the day was very front street because it was the time. You know what I'm saying? But now in today's world, it's like people don't like to really touch on topics like that, but that don't mean it's not happening. This world is too big of a place to not acknowledge the fact that it's still there. You know what I'm saying? And it's definitely still there. So
but obviously those facts right there will play a big part in this scene.
Yeah.
I mean, not this scene, this case. So our supporter Lucas, we did not have a chance to actually discuss the case at all. And y'all know on our channel we do blind reactions. Anyway, we're learning about this case for the first time. Our Australian supporters may know about the case.
Yeah, true.
We don't know how big the case was, but and they keep on referencing in the past or when it happened. So it seems like this was a while ago, right? So I don't know. Like, my nerves is just.
It seemed like you about to get in your bag when it comes to this case, because you know you was on stuff like you know what I'm saying back in the day.
I know. Law,
Hey, right, we got some time though. We're gonna unwrap it. Yeah. Let's unwrap it. I'm paying attention to everything, y'all. Everything. Gotta lock in.
And it's within 70 meters of each other.
3 young Aborigines mysteriously vanished from the north coast town of Bowraville over the past 6 months.
Hold up, wait a minute.
6 months?
So this is his sister, our supporter's sister. Okay, hold up, wait a minute. The population of the town is 2,500.
It's very small.
Go missing.
So everybody's mad.
Right.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows what's going on.
Right.
So this is not like just a side of the town that knows. Everybody's outside. What happened?
Right.
You know.
Everybody know everybody. This type of town.
Small town.
Here it would be everybody know everybody type of town.
Yeah. This is the conversation. This is gonna be the talk for some time.
Right. Oh, 16 years old.
All right.
She looked just like him.
Most people believe something sinister has happened. The thought of abduction is hard to accept, but people are, and they're frightened.
4 years old.
Parents delivered and collected their children at school today, far more so than usual. The town is spooked.
They're the maniac in Bowraville. We know they're the maniac in Bowraville.
Colleen was at the stage, where she was still figuring out what she wanted to do in life.
Right.
She had a lot of friends, She mixed really well. And she told me she was going to a party, and she said, Mum, make sure you pick me up. And I said, okay then. And then she just cuddled me and kissed me, and she didn't come home from that party.
I got a phone call from my sister. She said, Colleen's gone missing. You need to come home. And my sister don't talk to me like that. She would never talk to me like that, not unless she knew there was something wrong.
Mum went straight up.
That's one thing I just love our siblings, you know what I'm saying, to death. But when that one phone call, when that one person picks up the phone, it's never good news. So when she mentioned that tone came out, she instantly knew, I can imagine her heart just dropping.
Right,
She's I can't shake back from what you're going to tell me next, because I know it's not good news.
Right.
To the police station, and they asked to see a photo of her, and the police actually said to her, are you sure that's your daughter? She looks too white.
One of them.
Come on now, what?
Photos of a little 4-year-old, Evelyn Greenup, are plastered on every shopfront. She disappeared last Thursday without trace. Her distraught mother says she wouldn't just wander away.
Nah.
Evelyn was my first. Just being with her, she was just like a little doll.
I was happy.
She was a daddy's girl, you know. We had that connection.
I put Evelyn to bed, and a lot of people started showing up then, and just become the biggest mob of people drinking. And when I got up that morning, Evelyn wasn't in the room. My head wasn't thinking right. What happened? Where is she?
And the mother comes down and says, "You seen Evelyn?" And I said, "No, why?" And she said, "We can't find her." And what do you mean you can't find her? She was there with Jews.
What? Like, what
I
happened?
said, I've got to go to the police. And he let me in, and I slid the phone across the counter. And I said, I want to report my niece missing. She's 4 years old. This is a picture of her. I said, we can't find her. And he looked at me and said, oh, well, what do you want me to do about it?
Golly.
I'm just about to knock off.
God, boy.
This police station is, I don't want to curse y'all. No, I don't curse.
Well, he did mention
The racism.
the racism at the beginning. So we got to understand that's not too far of a time.
Right, right.
Police stations are very like, I guess you could say the times with them is very, it's stuck there. It's like the growth of the stations and the people that's inside. It don't leave.
Right, right.
So you could probably see why he would say that. You know?
That's so good. And did they say this was
Clinton
the same
Speedy
time?
was last seen on Thursday night when he stayed in this caravan. His father said his son wouldn't leave behind his personal belongings.
He wouldn't go away without taking any of his clothes or anything like that.
He was one of the deadliest dancers you could ever pull out on the dance floor. He just knew Michael Jackson down pat. And what I loved about him the most was just how caring he was. Not just of the kids, but of his elders as well.
He loved looking after kids. He would have made a good dad. I wish I would have been able to see him grow up and be a dad, but things don't happen that way.
He was going down to Bowraville to move down there with his dad. And I remember telling him, please be careful. You know that mongrel's still running around down there. Those two girls have gone. I said, and they still haven't found him. And he said, I'm telling you, I'll be right. He won't get me.
Right, he's a guy.
People knew that he went down to the caravan for a drink, and that's the last time they saw him. The next day, his girlfriend brought his shoes on and never went anywhere without his shoes. Then started to worry and ring the police. They said there's nothing they could do till 24 hours or something like that. By then, you never know. Anything could happen in 24 hours.
They said do that today. Someone go missing. You gotta wait till 24 hours to actually put out an alert. Or is it
I know,
48?
But that's a child.
Is it 48 or 28 hours?
It depends on the situation.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
That's a child.
It should have happened
Instantly.
drop of a dime.
Yeah.
Everybody should have been on the high horse.
Livid that there was two local girls from this area that's gone missing, and there was nothing being really done.
Nothing.
And then here's my nephew, and he goes missing, and it seems like there was nothing being done too. I was really angry that they weren't putting in the effort to find the f***er that did this to our kids.
Right, because it's a person. Seems like it's happening close.
We want our kids. We want some answers.
Who's responsible for all this?
When we have an answer, you will know.
It's hard to believe that all you specialist men can't give us anything.
If we had the evidence to arrest and charge somebody, he'd be charged.
Aborigines here in Bowraville say they're living in fear. There's so much tension here, there could well be a riot.
Someone was out there killing our kids and that no one cared. That really made us angry. That really lit the fire under us.
We want answers, man!
To do this investigation properly, we've got to have you people on side and working with us. We can't be apart, we must be working together.
Now, why did you stand and say that you want information from us when the black people gave you the information?
I heard
police said them 3 missing kids went walkabout. 4-year-old girl went walkabout. And I just shook my head and I thought, well, you're kidding me.
And she was asleep.
When kids go missing, a mob of police be smothering the town looking for kids. There wasn't that. There was no great urgency.
Detective Alan Williams was told to take over this case. He's a child protection detective. And when he was brought into this, he was told to look at the child protection issues, by which his bosses meant look at the families.
Alan Williams came on the case, but then I didn't realise till later on that he was a child protection officer. He was there to investigate us.
Now, first of all, how you gonna call we call them CPS here. How you gonna call CPS on the family? Now I understand you gotta dot all your I's, cross all your T's. I understand that.
Yeah.
But he the only one investigating? You mean the police not investigating? And they talking about we're gonna work alongside you, but we're gonna bring CPS first. No. How about everybody just where's the search parties?
Yeah.
This a small town. You mean to tell me they ain't gonna search the forest?
The perimeter.
They
could have easily shut it all down and just work their way back towards the middle and see what they could have found.
Right. Not a 4-year-old. They did have a party there that night. Right.
Was it the 4-year-old? Or was it the other girl?
The 4-year-old.
The 4-year-old.
Not a 16-year-old. She was at the party.
Mm-hmm.
And
then the guy, he lost his shoes and they brought it back.
Yeah. He was moving there.
It's like he won't go nowhere without shoes. So how did that happen?
The circumstances. I understand. You question the family first. I get that, but child protections.
That's a slap in the face, kind of, huh?
It is.
They introduced themselves.
And they waited.
And they tried to pressure me and thought I done it.
Wow.
They said to me, you know what? We can make it harder for you and he. I said, I don't care.
They were investigating our families, and we had no one there to support us to say, are you okay? Do you need someone to talk to?
Crazy.
We had no psychologist or anything come and check up on to see if our parents' mental health was okay.
For too long, this investigation was waylaid by looking at it through a bias of, were these children murdered by their own family?
That's racism at its finest. Why wasn't there a homicide detective from the start?
I think the homicide squad should have been sent up. No one wanted this investigation.
They didn't care.
I was given it.
That's what it sounds like.
What do you think they rated your chance of success at that time when they gave it to you?
0.
At Bowraville on the state's north coast, a body has been discovered. Police believe the remains could be those of 16-year-old Clinton Speedy.
I just remember the amount of crying that was going on, the screaming that was going on that day.
Down and back up if you don't mind.
The teenager's body was found late yesterday by 2 men searching for firewood in bushland east of Bowraville.
I believe that it is probably the body of a male, and we do have a male missing in this area.
I had a knock at the door, and it was the police, and they just said they'd found the body. They showed me photos. I always told myself I'll never tell anyone about what I saw that day in the photos, because he'd been laying in the bush for a fortnight nearly, and animals and stuff like that there. Something that I don't want to talk about, really.
And Thomas told me, he told me that his body was wrapped up in a blanket and his bones were sticking out. And I said to Thomas, I said, well, how do you know? How do you know it's him? He said, oh, I know my baby. I know my boy.
What happened?
Clinton was drinking with his girlfriend, Kelly Jarrett, and the two of them went to a caravan owned by a local man, Jay Hart. And they finished the bottle, they watched some videos, and they fell asleep. Now, when Kelly woke up the next morning, her underwear had been removed, and Clinton and Jay were gone. And when they finally found Clinton's body, there was a pillowcase stuffed down the front of Clinton's shorts, and the police matched that pillowcase to Jay's caravan.
Okay, now, okay. Being that there's 2 other children who was missing in this town, suspect number 1. Come.
There you go.
I think the general public will put that together. Come on. We getting somewhere. Yeah. And then she needs to go to the hospital. I hope she went to the hospital the same day. Mm-hmm. DNA, come on. I think the average public would with no experience in crime investigation will know what to do. Mm-hmm.
And they missed opportunities to gather evidence. The caravan isn't forensically searched. Days and weeks go past before the proper kind of forensic examination that we'd expect is done. So even the police at the time didn't know what evidence they'd mislaid.
Hart was arrested at this factory in Bowraville. The 25-year-old labourer made a brief court appearance, charged with murdering 16-year-old Clinton Speedy on the 1st of February.
When I heard that Jay Hart got charged, my heart jumped out of my chest. Jay and I ended up in a relationship when I was 18 years of age. He was one of the lads on the mish. All the lads knew him. So if all my mob knew him, well, he must be all right bloke to hang around.
Yo.
He just blended in.
Yo.
We accept.
Okay, I think her name Colin.
Yeah.
That's our supporter sister, the 16-year-old girl.
Yeah.
That's her aunt.
Yeah.
Who was in a relationship with the man
in the van.
In the caravan.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And he got charged for murder.
Of the 16-year-old boy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Come on, let's piece in the puzzles of this little small town. Come on.
So far he's by himself.
Huh.
But we still got 2 people left.
Right. Remember the party? The 4-year-old, when she went to sleep, there was a party outside. I think that's what I'm remembering. That there was a party outside. Let me find out he was at that party. Come on.
Hold on. We got somewhere to go.
Fitted into this community, aboriginal community.
He was mob. He was part of the community. He was welcomed into everybody's home. He was always on the mission. He was always partying with everybody.
Oh. When he'd get drunk, he'd change. All the boys just say to him, well, you got to go, mate. You're getting too drunk. You got to go.
He didn't give a He didn't give a rat's ass. You know how come he didn't give a rat's ass? Because he knocked me clean on my ass when I was 7.5 months pregnant.
Oh, she gonna tell it.
Like, I'm walking around with a big belly.
That's crazy.
This man is like the Yeti from over in Russia. And I'm looking at him like this, and he just going hitting me straight in the face.
So Jay lived in a caravan right here on our left, and that's where my uncle went back to sleep, and it's also the home of more shit that you could ever imagine. Like, it is a f***ing junkyard.
I knew that something happened to Colleen because I had a dream and I could see her running through the golf course in Bowraville, and there was a group chasing her. She was singing out, "Mum, help me." And when it come to the end of the dream, I could see these white hands digging the shallow grave.
The jeans were found in the Nambucca River, 3 kilometres southwest of Maxville. Working on suspicion that the clothing belonged to missing Bowraville teenager Colleen Walker, police searched the area yesterday, recovering more clothing.
That's wild. But you gotta think about that. Even in the documentaries and the movies that they create out of these things, the person be like, or the mom, whoever's in the family, they say they have a dream. 100% chances to be right.
Yeah, here we would call that a seer.
Yeah. 100% chances that be right. Go dig up in the spot where she dreamed about. 9 times out of 10, you're in the right spot. That's wild.
For real. My question is, how far away is it from his junkyard?
Okay. Yeah.
The jeans, in conjunction with several other items of clothing found, are that of 16-year-old Colleen Walker.
I didn't even know that the police found the clothes. They didn't even let me know or nothing. Didn't even know that they found them.
Wow.
I remember gathering in a park at Bowraville and talking, what's the next plan? You know, the police aren't going to help us. What are we going to do? So Mum formed her own search parties.
Guys too, though.
We spent most of our time when we weren't at school, we would just be gone with Mum. It was just a lot of searching all of the time, constantly, and all she wanted to do was just find our sister.
We were doing the job what the police should have been doing. They just didn't want to do anything.
And I think Mum knew from early on, you know, that Colleen wasn't alive. And more or less we were searching for her body.
She know her baby.
Nothing else but her body.
The spirit of her baby.
A grim development in the case of the missing Aboriginal children at Bowraville on the state's north coast. Police believe they found the remains of Evelyn Greenup.
I moved away from Bowraville and I told that detective, Alan William, if they find out any information or anything, could they please come and tell me straight away?
Police and volunteers were completing a search of bushland near Bowraville on the state's north coast. Yesterday afternoon, one of the searchers found human remains.
We found part of a skeleton and a skull in the bush behind me here.
I heard that there was on the radio that they'd found a body. The police come and told me, and they said, oh, can you tell Rebecca?
Here I have my sister Michelle coming to my front door and I can see tears coming down her eyes.
And I'm saying, don't touch the TV, just get out into the car now.
So I hopped in the car with her and I said, they found her, hey.
And I didn't want to tell her in the car because I didn't want her to break down while I'm driving, but I couldn't because she knew that there was something happening. So I had to tell her while I was driving. I said, they found Evelyn.
Baby.
I just started crying. They found her remains.
Yesterday, searchers unearthed a skull and other remains, ending hopes that Evelyn Greenup had been abducted but was still alive.
Now just imagine me. 5 minutes before the news was going to come on, I would have seen it on the news now and I would have been screaming off my head.
You know, like they couldn't let us know straight away or give us time or not let the media know or something. But it was just like, again, typical of police that we were the last to be thought of.
They rushed me straight to the hospital. They just gave me something to try to relax me. I was going into shock.
Well, in Sydney with my sister. She said, here, I've got to tell you something. All right, okay. They found Evelyn's... I know you hurt, Dad. I know you hurt, Dad. And when she said they found Evelyn's remains...
So hard for him to say.
Can't even say the words. Ooh.
I said, the first word that come out of my mouth, I said, take me home. Everyone on the miss looked after each other. We went through some hard times, but we got through it.
We were out on the fringes. But over the back on the hill was the piggery. Every afternoon you'd smell the piggery, which stunk. And then at the back was the rubbish dump. We used to go out there and play. We'd set up our little doctor's thing, find everything from the doctor's surgery, play with that, we'd have needles and everything.
It was beautiful. We had free rein to go and do anything we wanted. One thing we was never allowed to do was leave the mission because the parents were worried that we were going to get hurt by white people, more or less, yeah.
Hello.
Hi, is that Jay?
Yes.
Jay hasn't given any interviews, and I went and knocked on his door, and he didn't answer. And then one day I was in the office, and my answer phone was flashing, and I listened to it, and it was Jay's voice saying to me, Dan, I think you've been looking for me.
Did you come to my place yesterday?
I did.
Yes. Thought it might have been you. I assume you wanted to talk?
I do, and Jay, I have got to say one thing.
Oh, what you got? What you got?
They let him go? Did they let him go?
He could be from the jail. He could
No,
be talking
he
from
said
the
he
jail.
went to the house.
He said it. I must.
The man went to the house.
Okay, did they let him go?
Child, what?
And he said he'd been looking for him.
Let's see.
Wait, so wait, did they not have enough evidence?
They waited long enough.
To you. This conversation's been recorded.
Yes.
Okay.
Time. Let's get it.
I remember Jay had placed in a box in the middle of where we was all sitting, and I was behind him. And I can remember thinking, he's a big fella, he could take anyone down. Like, he was solid.
How big he is.
The prosecution's evidence against Jay was primarily around the fact that Clinton went missing from his caravan. That when Clinton's body was found, a pillow slip was down the front of Clinton's shorts. So you had this link to Jay's caravan. There wasn't a huge amount of other evidence. Clinton was last seen in your caravan. You've been out drinking with him the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Are you telling me that you had nothing to do with Clinton's disappearance?
Absolutely nothing.
So what happened?
I don't know. He left my caravan sometime that morning. And what happens to him after that, you have to try and figure it out from there.
The defense case was quite simply that it wasn't Jay Hart who murdered Clinton, and they based that on several witnesses who said they saw Clinton alive after the night where he was sleeping in Jay's caravan. Different witnesses said that we saw someone hitchhiking, we saw someone leaving Bowraville. It could have been Clinton.
I think that
Could have
that evidence of seeing Clinton hitchhiking was probably what cast the doubt.
Without shoes though? No, Clinton is the no.
16-year-old.
That's I'm thinking about Speedy.
That's him.
Okay.
That's him.
Yeah, without shoes.
And with a pillowcase in front of his shorts. The
That
pillowcase
came from
the
out of
the
from his caravan.
And then his girlfriend woke up with her pants
Panties,
off.
yeah.
Her panties off, whatever. Off.
And all he can say is that he had nothing to do with none of that.
And she brought his shoes back to the house. She didn't go to the hospital. Like, she wasn't worried. She didn't go get herself checked. Like,
Yeah, of course. You know, anybody who go through, especially a woman, female, anybody who go through anything like that, they got to go get themselves checked on.
right, because I mean...
That would just make sense. Parents would definitely send a child to the hospital of anything.
Right, if two other people was in the caravan, y'all ruled it as not him, I don't want to, you know...
So he
that's a
allowed
real
them to
case
go
of-
into the caravan to have fun, to drink.
With him. They finished the bottle with him.
So who's to say they didn't go back? Because they're saying that he was running and everything afterwards. And they didn't see them together afterwards, but he could have went back.
I just want to know how they got him off. Because here, baby, you're
Hold
still
up.
going now.
Hold up.
On Clinton's case. I'll never forget that day we went to the verdict. We went in there thinking that we were going to get a guilty verdict.
That's crazy.
After he was acquitted of killing the teenage boy, relatives were furious.
They were just yelling and screaming. How can that be? And my mum just fainted. We couldn't understand how they had so much evidence that all pointed towards him, and then all of a sudden it comes up not guilty.
Senior police met Aboriginal community leaders at Bowraville this morning following unrest in the northern New South Wales town last night. About 50 Aborigines rioted, breaking shop windows and damaging property. They were protesting after a man was yesterday acquitted of the murder of 16-year-old local Aboriginal youth Clinton Speedy.
Stuff was happening really bad. Windows smashing in the street, you know, and a lot of people rang from all over the place. They said, when do you want Bowraville to be burned? Bowraville's going to be burnt to the bloody ground. And me and this fellow had to go around and liaise with everyone and talk. Said, no, it's not on, you don't do that.
This is Bowraville, 360 miles north of Sydney, population about 1,000 people. 3 years ago, a group of students from Sydney University came here on a so-called freedom ride.
You can't trust a bloody black fellow, no matter where he is, see? And he gets on the plonk and he won't work.
He won't work.
Well, they're getting a better bloody deal than we're getting, see?
Reminds me of growing up in Australia. That's what it is. That's what life was like. That's what you'd hear. Oh, they won't work. Oh, no, they're dirty, and, you know, they get on the drink. And you can see when you watch that why something like the disappearance and death of the 3 children failed to resonate, failed to connect, because they're seen as something else. They're the blacks. They're separate. They're over there. They enter through another door.
And are Aboriginals allowed to go into the theatre?
Yes, they go in by that door over there.
And they thought that was
And do
okay.
all the Aboriginals have to sit in the same section?
Well, most of them do, but there's one or two who are better behaved than the others, and especially one old man. He's much nicer.
We had our own little spot over there to watch the movie up the top.
Sometimes you gotta laugh, bro, because it's crazy. Like, that was what it was. That's crazy.
That's part of life.
That's the way it was, you know.
In them days.
That's the way a black fella, we was in the front, that's it. We were happy to get in and watch the movie.
I get what he's saying when he said that was a part of life, but to me, it's not a part of life that was supposed to be actually experienced. I was pushed on people.
Right.
That was just pushed on people.
It's the caste system all over the world, you know?
Yeah.
Listen, that's why
all the way in Australia.
All the way in Australia.
Same thing. Whoa.
Dealing with...
Ain't it crazy?
If our grandparents was right here, if our parents was right here, they would be like, wow, we didn't know they was dealing with that too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
The two.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
Going to school with the Aboriginals?
Oh, well, we don't... only a few people associate much with them.
When I was 16, I did not know about racism. You're in the two world, black and white, you know, so it makes it hard. And you don't consciously think about it. It's just
the way
there,
of life.
you know.
Yeah.
Because you gotta think about it. As a child, hatred isn't taught to the person that's being, you know, picked on that they're being racist. It's actually just a normalcy to see that, oh, they're bullying me.
Mm-hmm.
They're picking on me.
Right,
oh, wow,
right.
it comes in masses as well.
Right.
I guess this is how life is.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, when you take a step back and you look at the overscap of the canvas, everything, you be like, oh, this is a crazy photo.
Right.
They was really purposely doing this.
Right.
You know.
From the powers that be.
From the powers, yeah.
Like, I remember we grew up in the 90s.
Shout out them 90 babies.
Yeah, so this is like, 30 years after the Civil Rights Movement. And I remember I wanted to sleep over at a classmate's house because she asked a couple of her friends, including me, to sleep over at her house. And I asked my parents, could I sleep over at her house? And they had all of these excuses on why I could not sleep at their house. But it took for me to have the conversation with my parents when I was older. The reason why I really couldn't sleep at their house, because my parents were dealing with their trauma of growing up in their parents' trauma of growing up.
Which is another level of uncomfortable conversations that they don't want to put on their children because they don't, you know what I'm saying? They want to grow from it. They want to see life better, you know?
Exactly. They want to grow from it, so they kind of shielded me from the real realities of why you don't sleep there. And especially growing up in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Looking back at our history, especially now that I'm studying our history, there was a lot of lynchings going on during our parents' time.
Right.
So thank you for not letting me go to the people's house.
Nah, it's crazy. And they may not have talked about it as viciously and like really poured in our ears about how life was and how it's still to be. But they sure did put on them roots.
We had to watch put on every summer.
Bro, when that came on, it just started to resonate because you're a child looking at you like, I don't want to watch this.
Right.
It's like opening a book and having to read as a child. I want to go shoot ball. I want to go play with the friends. But when you got in front of that TV and you really looked at what was happening, it's like, oh, crazy. She's trying to tell me something important right now.
Now, thankfully, our children growing up, they, now is what? Dang it, about 60 years. Since the civil rights movement.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So 60, 70. So our children don't necessarily have to, we don't have that trauma, really. We were able, we went to integrated schools.
I think our age and the children that's coming up is more open.
I mean,
let's
not talk about what's going on now.
I'm just saying they're just more open to it.
Yeah, people... The general public is more open to it. Like there's not as many fears as our parents had raising us.
Yeah, exactly.
So we went to integrated schools. We can go to any grocery store we want to go to. We don't have to go through a side door or a back door to enter anywhere. So now like we're living in the freedoms. We're standing on our parents and their parents' generation of the freedoms that we have now.
That they was wondering what that would look like had we had it.
What it would look like.
Yeah.
The investigation remains unsolved, the killer still at large. Detectives have returned to Bowraville and are re-interviewing the murder victims' families and other locals. They're going over the events of 7 years ago once again in the hope of uncovering the clue that could solve the case.
I wonder how he got off.
I was told that I was going to be part of the strike force to reinvestigate the murders. I sat down and read through the brief, and I was quite shocked, actually.
This is Detective Sergeant Gary Dupler.
I was shocked in the fact that 3 kids disappeared in the same street, basically over a 5-6 month period, and no one had been called into account, and there was an outrage within the police and outrage within the community.
Rightfully so.
When I first met the families, I was a big city homicide detective coming up to work in an environment that I was unaccustomed to, and I certainly got growled at. And,
What's that? What you say now?
Sometimes you need an outsider to come in who is unbiased.
Yeah. That's true.
With the climate of the area, no connection to
Mm-hmm.
come in and solve things But now this is 7 years later.
But the trauma and having to reopen the cases is still hurting the family because they have to keep reliving the storyline over and over. Because I'm pretty sure he had the same questions the first homicide detective had, the CPS worker had, all the officers had. You know what I'm saying? So they're constantly having to live this over and over. So yeah.
Nobody find it strange that he had a pillowcase stuffed in the front of his shorts. Like that ain't normal. What happened for him to have that there? Regardless if they saw him hitchhiking.
Yeah.
What happened? Why would he leave the girl?
Have the same, you know what I'm saying? Why would she bring the shoes back?
Exactly. Well, she said she freaked out. But
from what? Her pants being off.
Yeah, so I'm going to just bring his shoes back. What happened to her? Where's she at?
They probably woke up with their head just spinning because they was drinking too.
But still.
Yeah, but I'm saying.
What happened for him to have that in front of his shorts?
Yeah. I don't know. They said that in this video there will be some stuff that they will show that may be needing to be blurred out. So possibly we may come across it.
And clipped over the ears and put in my place.
I just thought he was just another joke of a copper coming to butter us up and impress us and trying to, make promises and that. And I told him what I thought of him. So what, going to come here and blow wind up our ass and make us promises you're not going to keep.
She gave it to me, and what the f are you going to do? Like, as in just another white cop rolled out.
He's can f off. I didn't like him, I didn't respect him, I didn't think nothing of him.
But I learnt, and the more that we got to know the community and the more the community got to know us, then that made our job easier as a homicide detective because they were revealing stuff to us that they hadn't previously passed on.
Hopefully that helped.
7 years is a long time.
No answers.
In the reinvestigation, we looked at all possibilities, followed up all the leads, but it all kept coming back to the one person.
It's crazy. And he still lives back there. Probably the same van.
This was the area where Colleen was last seen alive.
So I wonder if the community disowned him at this time. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a real part of the community.
They accepted him.
They accepted him in. So I wonder if they pushed him back out. You know what I'm saying? So how he been doing the whole time?
Because
when
how?
all this happened?
All these people here who be doing decades in prison, and then when they're about 80, 90 years old, the people want to say, we have this new technology, we realize you didn't do it. Although they didn't have no evidence towards these people, they still had to go to jail.
Still, yep.
Drinking over there under the tree, hanging out with her friends. There was information that we received during the investigation that Jay Hart was making advances towards Colleen. The last reported sighting we've got was a witness saw Colleen walk down the side of the house in between the two houses, and the witness also saw at the same time Jay Hart going down that side of the house.
Okay, he's giving information more than what the others did. He's giving a lot more information out.
This 7 years
7
later.
years later, though.
And y'all let him go.
All right, hold on. Let's go.
I mean, you know what?
Hold on. At this point, we may be on something. We got something. Hold on.
If you had a party and you're with your girls, your friends, why the hell didn't anyone pull him up or her up? You know, if they thought it looked suspicious or whatever.
Were you there at all around midnight, around the time Colleen disappeared?
I was there at one point that night.
At one point.
Left early.
Do you know what happened to Colleen that night?
No.
Part of the frustration for the families and the community is the close proximity to the disappearance of these children. This is where Colleen disappeared from. And this is the same house where Clinton was living with his father at the time he disappeared. And then you're looking just 150 metres up the road to the house that Evelyn disappeared from.
I lived with my mother then, and then that's when we ran into a fellow named Jay. So he asked us if we wanted a drink. So we said, oh, yeah. So he brought a carton. So we went back to my mother's place and then we started drinking that.
Evelyn had gone to bed with her mum, Rebecca, and sleeping in the room with her brothers. And late that night, Jay Hart was seen coming out of the bedroom.
Woo!
If he the
Where are these witnesses?
denominator,
Wait a minute.
he the common denominator of Colleen, the 4-year-old, and the guy. How he got off? Huh?
As I was putting things away, you know, cleaning up, and he come back, and I was,
What he doing in the
I
bedroom?
told you all to go, you know, it's late. Well, I thought he'd left, but he must have been in the room because Evelyn started crying real weird and that, because I never heard her cry like that. He was scared. Next minute, I heard this thud.
The night Evelyn disappeared, there was a party. You were at that party. You were seen walking out of the room where Rebecca and Evelyn were sleeping.
No. The person that said she's seen that, she said that she didn't see me come out of the room. She said she's first seen me when I was about halfway down the hallway.
So you were in the house in the early hours
By the
of the
room.
night?
No, that's what she said.
Then what is it? Why you in?
When I got up that morning, Evelyn wasn't in the room, and my pants was halfway down my legs.
Sound familiar? Sound familiar? Same party with Colton.
The
Speed.
police alleged that there was a sexual motive that tied all three of the cases together.
It sound familiar?
The killer had wanted to have sex with Colleen.
Come on.
That the killer had wanted to have sex with Kelly Jarrett, who had been in the bed with Clinton, and that the killer had wanted to have sex with Evelyn's mother, Rebecca, who was in the room with her the night before she disappeared. So the allegation is that the motive here is sex, and that murder is a way of getting rid of the victims or the witnesses.
Oh, don't tell me it's what I'm thinking. Oh my God.
You want to you want to put that out? No. So it's common, like, so it's the parties. That's the first factor here. It's whenever a party is happening and a lot of drinking is happening, and the pants being down. It sounds familiar.
Boys, he hitchhiking with no shoes on.
Right.
Why would he run away with no shoes on?
His
daddy said he always had shoes. He liked shoes.
Was he running from something?
Was he running from something with a pillowcase in the front?
He probably woke up like that and he couldn't get enough time to get the girl out. And he probably, dipped. And then the dude probably dipped too. And the girl probably woke up last minute like, what happened? And why are my pants down?
Because when she woke
and
up,
let me bring his shoes to his daddy.
Mm.
And then he must have went for the dude.
Mm.
Because they said they saw him hitchhiking.
Mm.
That's good. Okay. All right.
Interestingly about this particular crime scene, because it is a crime scene, this is where Evelyn was last seen alive. Her shoe was found out on the grass. The other shoe was found beside her body on Congarini Road where her body was dumped.
Sound like
Sound familiar.
nobody gonna leave a shoe.
Sound familiar. At his location.
Australia in many ways is a crime scene. And the first crime is Captain Cook ordering his men to shoot at Aboriginal people. That's the shot that we still hear all around Australia. And of course, there are images in our history of Aboriginal people in chains, Aboriginal people tied together with armed police standing either side of them. This is what's happened in our country. So it isn't a great step to go from frontier attitudes of violence to the deaths of 3 children in Bowraville. Because for us, it's the same thing. It's a killing that never stops.
Hard. That's heavy. Heavy.
We're travelling along Congarini Road. This was the road where 2 of the children were dumped in the bushland.
I don't know. I think he's going to crack it, y'all.
I don't know. Let's see.
He's putting a lot of
4
pieces
kilometres
together.
out from the Bowraville township, and this is the site where Evelyn's remains were discarded. It was her skeletal remains that were basically here, and the clothing had been torn. It looked like animals had in fact got to her remains. I've seen situations where bodies have been disposed of, and as weird as this sounds, they've been given a little bit of respect. But with this particular one, it showed there was just total contempt.
That goes to tell you that the person will lie. Hard down lie. For no ever reason possible, he will just continuously lie. No respect.
I feel sad when I come here. There's just an eeriness that I get around this area. We're coming up to where Clinton's remains were found. This is about 7 kilometres from the Bowraville township, 3 or 4 kilometres from where Evelyn's body was found. Clinton's body was found 3 weeks after he disappeared, and it was fairly humid conditions, so it was badly decomposed. He also had a penetrative wound in his head, indicative of the fact that it's a result of a murder and foul play.
He fought. Nobody gonna strike you.
This is a river where Colleen's clothes were found and they were snagged by a fisherman.
That's crazy, that part.
Her panties, her jumper, her jeans, her belt, all bundled into a bag and weighted down with rocks. The thing that gets to me has been the fact that there's plenty of areas where bodies could be disposed of from Bowraville. Bowraville being the centre, but they've all come out along Congarini Road.
So you mean to say this man was at all of these parties, where these 3 people within the span of 5 to 6 months went missing? Sex was a motive.
Yep.
And all of their bodies were found off of the same road. I mean, if 1 + 1 is 2,
Just saying.
why this man got off?
Yeah, it's just like, as he's adding up all the pieces, it makes clear sense that he has a huge responsibility to this huge case. Yeah.
See, they say no country for old men. No initiation day, so I can never be a grown man. Oh, see, they say no country for old men.
No one cares about our little black kids. And that's why I'm so worried as a father that, you know, something could happen to my little girl, and here I am jumping up and down trying to get attention, and no one's going to even bat an eye at me because they're not worried about little black children.
Time don't fly when you live without pay. I'm so wise, boy, but I never ate.
People see it differently because our kids were black. I mean, we know they see it differently because there's been cases in the history of Australia of young white children going missing, and those cases being taken seriously, those families being taken seriously. That hasn't happened here. What does that say to the rest of the community? It says, don't worry. This has happened, but it's under the rug now. Everything's fine. Let's go back to business as usual.
I did not first of all, I did not expect that this would be so much about racism, about discrimination. I don't know the stats, but I know here I was watching a documentary, and it was about black girls going missing, and in relation to white girls going missing, the likelihood of them finding a black girl is drastically lower. People want to forget history. They don't want history to be taught because they don't want us to connect dots. They don't want us to be angry. But I say, if we don't know our history, things will never get better, because things will continuously be pushed under the rug, be overlooked. You're always thinking about race. No. When you look at the way things are, our present fears, he's saying today, I don't know how long ago this was filmed, but he is saying he's fearing something happening to his child and not being able to get help.
Right.
We know our relationship with police here. Police will not be the first person we call if something went wrong, because fear of retaliation. We just went on a street. We was driving one late night, and we was on the street, and I noticed the name of the street, and I was like, oh my God, Tatiana Jefferson. Yeah. We're near where that happened in Fort Worth, where it was supposed to be a wellness check, but she ended up getting
unalive. Facts. But here's a trick about all of this, about people not understanding history. Imagine you tripping out because of what you feel, how someone is treating you, and then they have something out here called a mental disorder that you're having because of how you're looking at the situation. Oh, history don't make sense no more then. Right? So now you're being treated with a law to allow people to treat you that way. Now, I just said something.
Making it worse.
I just said something. That's huge.
Oh,
right?
oh.
And that's why it's important to know a little one, too, when it comes to just everyday living, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's everyday living.
Make it I'm strong, but I don't think I'm strong enough. I just drank my life away because of the bad dreams I was having. She would appear in my dreams, just sit up, and she's not there. What's happening? What's happening? Go and make a cup of tea, start having a smoke. Or I'll get straight back on and drink again. And just think and just think and just think.
And these families don't really have no support when it comes to therapy and,
wasn't offered. Oh my God.
Just keep
How
going
small.
for justice.
We should not be burying our babies.
The Aboriginal community at Bowraville has waited a long time for answers about the murders of their loved ones. Now they hope an inquest will at last give them some.
So what an inquest is to determine time and manner of death. And this was the first time these witnesses had given evidence about all three matters in the one courtroom environment.
This is from the inquest in 2004. Like the investigating police, I am of the opinion that the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of Colleen Walker and the murders of Evelyn Greenup and Clinton Speedy have strikingly similar characteristics. The coincidence and tendency evidence suggests that Jay Hart was involved in the disappearance. He recognised what we were trying to say, you know, all along.
And so we're thinking we're coming out of the inquest, we're going to go straight into another trial with all three heard together. Then they have their legal arguments and that, and then no, they can't be heard together.
Why?
And nothing can be said about Clinton's and nothing can be said about Collins. So they only strictly only hear about Evelyn's.
That's crazy.
Like, come on.
It's a shocking case that's taken 15 years to make it to court. 4-year-old Evelyn Greenup was killed in October 1990 at Bowraville on the North Coast. J. Thomas Hart has pleaded not guilty to the murder charge. Evelyn's family and friends attended the Port Macquarie Supreme Court in large numbers on the first day of the trial.
Even though it was just for Evelyn, we all felt like it was for the three of them. Okay, even if we could just get him on one, we know, you know, that's a victory at least.
The court heard how sometime before 1990, Jay Hart had been accepted by the Bowraville Aboriginal community and regularly socialised with them.
I was just thinking that they let him in. And
I couldn't look at him. And I knew he was there, sitting there, but I just couldn't look.
It's the Crown case that Jay Hart was the last person to see 4-year-old Evelyn Greenup after a party at her grandmother's house on an Aboriginal estate known as the Mission.
The defence lawyer holds up the evidence of this white witness, the woman who said she saw Evelyn in her sweet shop the next morning. He calls that a beacon of light. He says the jury, who are all white, should be guided by this evidence of this white witness. And in contrast, he does a very good job of undermining the Aboriginal witnesses.
How?
If a 4-year-old is in a shop and the last time the 4-year-old's parents have seen her was when she was in bed, sleeping with her brothers. How a 4-year-old being at a shop? Who the 4-year-old was with? Huh? Child, what?
Beck was treated was that her drinking, drug, the people walking through the houses, the partying, that was put on trial.
His lawyer was just trying to make out that I was a real bad mother.
They were being judged just because they were having a drink. And because they were having a drink, it was their fault that their 4-year-old child had been murdered.
The court heard, whilst in Maitland Prison, the accused allegedly told a fellow inmate he got angry and he banged her head against the wall.
When you were in prison awaiting trial, a number of the people you were in prison with said you told them things about the killings. One in particular said you bashed Evelyn's head against a wall. Now, did you say those things?
Absolutely not.
Then why would he say you did?
One of the questions my barrister put to him was, you've lied to the juries before, why should we believe you now?
I fully accept what you're saying there. In this case, you've never got DNA, you've never got fingerprints, you've never got witnesses. Everything is circumstantial. That said, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence. It's not the strongest case because you don't have that smoking gun. But I have seen people convicted on less evidence than this.
You just said, with no evidence.
Heartbreak for the family of 4-year-old Evelyn Greener. J. Thomas Hart, the man charged with the little girl's murder, has been found not guilty at Port Macquarie Supreme Court. The jury took less than a day to set the 40-year-old free.
Less than a day. They ain't wait no time to let him out.
What to do? Because we lost. He got acquitted.
It was just a joke. It was a big farce. You know, they were just going through the motions to say, look, we've done it. To shut us up, to hopefully make us go away.
That, for all intents and purposes, was our last throw of the dice. And then a comment was made.
What else can we do?
I just said, well, you'd have to change the legislation. And this is a double jeopardy legislation that I didn't really believe could be changed because it's been enshrined in English law, which we've inherited for, I think, 800 years. And I half laughed when they said it. Well, you can try.
As an MP, you get lots of invites to speak at events or to assist a particular individual, but it really came across my desk because a couple of family members asked me to take a look at the case. This was a case where the legal system had grossly misfired. What was preventing them getting their next step in justice was the double jeopardy laws, which are there for a good reason, to stop any individuals in society being repeatedly prosecuted by the police until they get a conviction.
These are part of the first letters I wrote in 2002. We emailed every single member of the Legislative Assembly. What really pisses me off, this is an example from Minister for Community Services, Minister for Youth. I refer to your representations to the Minister for Community Services as the matters you raise come with the portfolio responsibility of the Honourable Robert Debus, Attorney General, and Minister for the Environment. I'm forwarding your correspondence to him. I don't want you to forward the correspondence to him. I want you to support us. Is it that hard to understand?
These are the families who refuse to let the system defeat them.
Well, we just lobbied and we wrote to government, lobbied, talked to media, kept Evelyn and Clinton's and Collins' face out there. We didn't just let them die and disappear like everybody else had hoped.
The double jeopardy law is set to be introduced the next session of Parliament. I've been told that a million times that it's coming, but I think to have someone so high up actually say it might mean that it's actually going to happen.
It was powerful stuff. And it was powerful stuff because there have been 2.5 decades of injustice.
These Aboriginal families in a small town in the middle of nowhere, 6 hours drive from Sydney, decide to campaign to overturn this building block of the Australian legal system, and they do it.
Yeah.
Lock the doors.
Whoa.
I believe the ayes have it. The ayes have it.
Wow.
Oh, Lord,
Wow.
Listen, child, listen.
I like that. Come on, man.
That's huge. That is huge.
That's history right there.
For real.
They made a whole movement.
All right. But I'm still mad that they didn't try all these cases together.
They didn't try all these cases together. The lady in the store, they said they're gonna put her as a witness over all the families witnessing that they have been fighting for years. Obviously, that is so crazy, bro. That's crazy to me.
It is, because I remember we watched a video about how they took all of the Aboriginal children, how they was taking them and splitting the families. I don't remember everything. If I really had time to think about it and not prolong this video, I would be able to put all the pieces together, but it just tells you how they were viewed.
Yeah.
And why CPS was called and why they needed that person in a shop Where she come from? That's my first time hearing it.
Random.
To validate that they weren't good. They weren't good. A good mother.
But
how she?
No, go ahead.
How she wasn't a good mother if they were having a drink with friends, friends and family that they thought, okay. Yeah. This man that they accepted into the community, he the one was bad. How they were bad parents if the little girl was asleep?
Without a history at all of this. Now, that's the part. When you have a family or a community that don't have no crazy histories like this, and then when you open your doors to somebody and then chaos break loose, how y'all all of a sudden y'all just start to say it's the family's fault? Hey, you know?
It's all three families' fault? Come on now.
Hey. With this, and then the storylines all have the same repetitive evidence.
Yeah.
It's very clear. It's like...
I can't even describe it. I just want to scream, but I'm in the council chambers and I
can't. Scream! Scream! Sometimes you gotta scream.
It was good. We said, oh yeah, we'll get back into court now.
Jay Hart potentially could be retried for not just Evelyn's murder, but also Clinton Speedy's murder. But it's not just as simple as saying, okay, let's take this person to trial. There has to be fresh and compelling evidence to justify and warrant that matter going to court again. So we put together a brief of evidence where we showed what we consider fresh and compelling evidence and put it to the DPP.
They did their part. That's where y'all come in at. How far we into this is getting... Ooh, we got a lot go. What's happening? What's going to happen?
For real.
Justice! What do we want now? What do we want? Justice! When do we want it now? What have we got? Fuck all! What have we got? Fuck all! Absolute fuck all!
David Shoebridge, he saw the families protesting. He saw that, frankly, no one was listening to them, and he thought that's not good enough. He forced politicians to confront what had happened, and every politician who looked at that case closely knew that it was wrong and stood up on the floor of Parliament and said that it was wrong.
The government said they supported the establishment of an inquiry to hear from the families.
Finally, there was a win for the families, with the establishment of a parliamentary inquiry into the murders.
The frustrations that the families have felt have been heartbreaking. The families told me the reason when I first met them. They said it's because we're Aboriginal. At the time, I did not believe them. Unfortunately, I think they identified the problem.
No Gary Jubelin, no inquiry. And his presentation to the committee really convinced us that there was fresh and compelling evidence and there was a prosecution that should be run.
There it is.
Together.
There it is.
Man, I hope there's a...
So how he gonna keep his story? Now, here's the thing, though. Now he gotta testify on all three stories at one time. How you gonna keep that lie? How you gonna keep that? Because I know they're gonna cross him. They're gonna cross.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta see it.
Man, I hope justice
You
is
let
served.
down again, and you're thinking, but there is fresh and compelling evidence. Why wasn't the Norco corner evidence used?
Wow.
There was information that was reported to the police that a truck had come around Norco Corner in the early hours of the morning, which I believe is the morning Clinton disappeared, where they almost ran over an unconscious Aboriginal boy laying on the road.
He was running.
When this information came to our attention for the reinvestigation, I looked at that and thought this is potentially fresh and compelling evidence.
We regularly came along this way to do a meat delivery from an abattoir which is near Kempsey, around about 4:30, pre-dawn, and with the truck spotlights we could see someone laying on the road. There was a young Aboriginal teenager and he had no shoes on. This is the position he was laying in. He was motionless there on the road.
The police did know about that evidence at the time of Clinton's trial, and for some reason, which no one's ever really got to the bottom of, that evidence is not heard during Clinton's trial. So the jury are never told about what may have happened at Norco Corner.
case theory, if the body was placed on the roadway and if it was run over by a truck coming around that corner, it would look like death by misadventure.
We noticed there was a car parked just over here on the left-hand side with its boot up. And a guy's come out of the shadows. He was a white guy.
Yo!
Heavy set build, football-y kind of build, pretty...
Yo! Yo,
and he
snap!
said, I've called the police. He sounded pretty confident when the way he said to us, I'm right, you know, I've called the police. And yeah, so that's why we
He
went.
was waiting on y'all to leave.
You thought y'all was gonna keep riding.
Many years later, I did recognise that guy. It was actually a program where they confronted him on the street and asked him a few questions.
You're Jay Hart. Can I ask you a couple of questions, please, about Bowraville, Jay?
And what questions would they be?
Did you kill those 3 kids?
No, I did not.
Go and do your research into the police investigation and you'll know that they had the evidence that cleared me right from the beginning.
And what was that evidence?
That they were all seen alive. The 2 people that I was charged with were seen alive after those parties.
I even gave the description of him to the police on several occasions. Build, everything, hairstyle, a whole lot.
He got the he got the full pack right there.
Right there.
This is eye witnessing at its best. The trunk was open, guy on the ground, dude standing outside the car waiting for the car to pass.
Coming out the shadows.
I'm saying, like, this is... Okay, we're going to see what they say.
After years of campaigning for a retrial, the families say the state government has finally listened.
What made the difference was that that decision was made in the aftermath of a concerted and deliberately organised campaign by the police, by the victims' families, and by the media. So we were deliberately putting pressure on the Attorney General to make this decision, and she did.
Gotta apply pressure.
The New South Wales Attorney General, Gabrielle Upton, has confirmed that she will seek a retrial in the 26-year-old case of the Bowraville murders.
Today, the families of the Bowraville children cried tears of joy.
It's the first time I've ever felt like this could be it.
I think the very
She's the one who had the
defining
dream.
moment was when the police commissioner came up to meet the families of Bowraville, and no one's proud of what's gone before, but we are trying to do what we can do to bring them justice.
Rebecca, how are you?
Yep, nice to meet you too.
I want to publicly acknowledge when these crimes first occurred, we should have done more. And it's important you understand that I'm looking you right in the eye and saying I'm sorry.
Could you please walk through the smoke so Uncle Martin can smoke you as you go through, please?
That was just a joke. Dotting I's and crossing T's. We're in this position because they f***ed up. You can lay reefs and flowers and fly your helicopter into the golf course and make a big entrance and everything else. But it all means nothing at the end of the day when we still don't have justice.
The first thing that has to happen in the legal process is for Jay Hart to be charged with those 2 murders of Evelyn and Clinton again, which means he has to go to court.
To actually come face to face with Jay is just overwhelming. Yeah, I haven't seen him since I was a young girl.
I am a victim of a very egotistical bloody cop that won't even consider any other avenues. Police haven't got a single witness that's seen me do anything. They haven't got a single piece of forensic evidence to tie me to them. Not one piece.
Oh, that's him talking. He said the cops don't got nothing on him.
Sir, that's a lot of whack. And they charge.
Sir, can we ask, what can you say to these charges? Do you still maintain your innocence, sir? Any comment at all, sir?
Charge now.
The
People
focus
don't
of
talk
this
to them.
extraordinary case now shifts to the Court of Criminal Appeal. Lawyers are first due to appear there next Thursday.
He had a lot to say. Hold up. He had a lot to say when he thought that it was gonna be on his side. He said 20 years later, y'all ain't find nothing. I'm gonna go up and I ain't gonna say too much.
When you gotta go through it over and over and over again because it's too painful.
That's it.
Over and over.
Right, and I said that. They got to keep reopening this. Man.
20 years at this point.
But shout out to them, though, because they fought.
I'm willing to do anything to get justice for my nephew, for my family. Bobby was murdered. His life is no less than any other Australian in this country.
We're 26 years into this fight, so this is part of our lives. That's all we know. I'm 21 and he's 18. I wasn't even born when the murders occurred.
Everybody grew up, man.
Like, I shouldn't be here fighting for my uncle's murder.
He said he wasn't born.
It's just
Go back a little bit.
stone to get
They say 20 years.
I'm 21 and he's 18. I wasn't even born when the murders
He wasn't
occurred.
born.
Like, I shouldn't be here fighting for my uncle's murder.
Think about that generation.
It's just a stepping stone to get justice. But we feel like we're finally being taken seriously.
Today it still hurts. That pain will never go away. Hopefully, we get justice for these children.
I just don't see how people can live in a city. It's just way too fast. Bloody breakfast cost us $75 this month. $75.
Yeah. We needed that one up.
Two big events for me today. We've got a intellectual and emotional battle today in court. And then tonight I'm fighting a physical battle in the boxing ring. When I found out the date I was fighting and then the date that the court matter was on and that they were aligned, it was almost like that was always going to happen. I spoke to all the families last night and there's a sense of anticipation, a sense of nervousness. This is the final step, so it's crunch time.
You have to remember, we've never ever done this before. We've never ever been here. And I guess even the Australian court system has never been where they are today too. So for us, all together, this is a historical day for us all.
Good news.
Okay, everyone at me, please. This is the first time that these double jeopardy laws have actually found their way to court. The question the courts will be deciding is whether or not there's some fresh and compelling evidence that would allow for the court to say, well, there should be a retrial. And they also have to answer the question about whether or not it's in the interests of justice to have a retrial, if the defendant can get a fair trial.
This was new territory under double jeopardy laws, and to succeed, it needed fresh evidence. Prosecutors argued they had it.
The Crown's barrister arguing a man should be retried for two of the murders because there was fresh and compelling evidence. That evidence was the murder of the third child, Miss Walker. No one has ever been charged over her disappearance from the same street in the same 5-month period.
We weren't aware of Colleen being the fresh evidence until we got here, so that took us by surprise. It was a good move from them because we've never ever been to court over Colleen's case.
What the lawyers did in the appeal court was they looked at the case and they said, the fresh evidence here isn't Norco Corner. The fresh evidence is the evidence about Colleen's death. Her death has never been discussed at trial. So all the evidence about her death is fresh.
And
but
he got
what
it
it
together
also
too.
does
That's
is it
why it's
allows
fresh.
the lawyers to say, look how similar it is to these other two murders. It's so similar, in fact, they must have been committed by the same person. And that is compelling.
Yep.
Go on, bring it
You preaching.
We've at court all day, so we're just going over to this charity fight that Gary Jublin's fighting in. And I think he's called the Gatekeeper, is his boxing name.
So that's
It is funny.
The Bowraville people made quite a few comments during the day about the boxing match, and I said I couldn't face the embarrassment if I lost in front of them, and they basically told me I wasn't allowed to lose.
Defence lawyers for the man suspected
The
of
metaphor is
killing the
crazy.
children say evidence of witnesses has changed considerably over time. Barrister Julia Roy told the court a witness initially told police she heard Evelyn crying, but in later statements the witness told police she heard Evelyn screaming in fear before hearing a thud and then silence. Counsel for the Attorney General argued the suspect had a sexual interest in Colleen, Clinton's girlfriend, and Evelyn's mother. Each woman woke after a night of drinking to find her underpants had been removed, and it's alleged those assaults led to the 3 murders. Barrister Julia Roy has argued there's almost no chance the man would get a fair trial. She says the fact homicide detectives named the man as their main suspect in extensive media reports and the prosecution's highly circumstantial case mean any trial would be extremely prejudicial.
Hold up, wait a minute.
heard that right?
Yes, you heard that right. He wouldn't have a fair trial. The families have not had a fair investigation until now.
Since the opening. Since they went to the police department, it's like, what are you supposed to do? What you want us to do about it?
For real. Is that even your daughter? She's too white to be your daughter. What? Come
All of that. Remember that, huh? That's all in paperwork, too.
CPS called.
Yep.
Lawyers for the Attorney General say the man confessed details of the alleged murders to 4 police informants. But senior public defender Mark Irace has argued one of those informants was a fantasist who was prone to big-noting himself.
So.
Results are in. In the blue corner.
Yeah, okay.
Good foreshadowing.
This is a fire metaphor. Yeah.
The one who cursed them out.
No respect. She said, I ain't respecting them at all.
Never in there.
All right.
Come on. Because I'm over here shaking. Palms sweaty.
The families of the Bowraville 3 have endured so many false starts, but they believe now they are finally on the cusp of justice, denied for so long.
I'm glad that things are looking our way. I think they're starting to wake up to themselves, starting to care.
If you'd said to the families 5 years ago, we'll have you in court, we'll have all 3 cases before a judge, and you'll have a shot at a retrial, I think many of them wouldn't have believed it. But today, they have that belief, and they have a sense that they might get justice.
When the Court of Criminal Appeal ended early December, we were under the impression it would only take about 3 months for them to consider it. But we thought February, March, now we're in May.
It's just sort of like they forget about us all the time. The wheels of justice roll slowly, but only for black fellas.
Aww.
That's gold. That is gold.
I don't know if I got the fight in me. Because this has consumed my life since, 27 years plus? I was 21, I'm 49 this year.
This year will be 28 years and, I'm worn out, I'm getting tired, I'm getting old, and it's really hard.
Really, it only hit me last night how significant tomorrow's date is to us, the 13th of September.
that was the last day of someone actually seeing Colleen alive.
This is one of those moments where years and years of political work, you hope is going to actually produce some justice. This is a moment, hopefully, where the families, after waiting more than a quarter of a century, will actually be told what their day in court will be.
The court acknowledges that the deaths of Colleen Walker, Evelyn Greenup and Clinton Speedy were tragedies for their families and the Bowraville community. And we recognise the distress that the deaths of these children and the subsequent investigations and proceedings have caused the families involved. We know that that grief and loss remains fresh in your minds. Our task was to determine whether the necessary preconditions to justify setting aside the acquittals have been made out. The express purpose of the application was to permit the respondent to be tried for all three murders in the same trial. We have come to the view that the evidence which was available at the time of the earlier trials was not fresh, even if it could not have been admitted at those trials.
For you, my baby. I love you.
It follows from this conclusion that the application as framed by the applicant has failed. The court will now adjourn.
We're nothing. We're fucking nothing. Just black people.
Mum, there was a stingray in here.
You don't eat them.
Immediately after we got this decision, I'm going around to, families from Clinton's family, Evelyn's family, saying we've got to do something. We need to protest. We need to organise. And the response from every one of them is yes. See? Went off that way a bit.
Oh, yeah. Life is what you make of it, my baby. We just got drawn that wrong card, and now we've got to struggle to fight,
It's one of those things, Mum. It's like you got to make your own path, but when you come from a family like ours, the path, you look at it and it's just stained with blood.
Yeah.
And you can't even walk that path anymore because look what they've done to it, So that's why I do what I do, because something's got to change before we can ever have a better life, I think.
Yeah.
I'm getting bites, Mum.
Are you?
Yeah, I can feel it.
I'm not going to the demonstration today, and I'm very disappointed. I've been told by my superiors that I'm not to attend. I'm mystified how they came to the decision because there was no discussion had with me. I've been present during 3 so-called protests out the front of Parliament House, and the benefits of that is the families see that police actually care.
Gary's angry, I know. The police should have been here. Scipione come to Bowraville and apologise and said that they would support us and walk this journey with us to justice, and they're not. So where are they? They're only here to stop us from protesting.
We live in a society in which we're told the courts, the police, the state is there to benefit the interests and look after the interests of ordinary people. So we expect not to be shot in the face with a taser, like Joyce Clark was. We expect not to be shot in our homes, like young Kumanjai Walker was. In the same vein, we expect the police to investigate the murders of our children when they go missing. That is why this relates to Black Lives Matter.
1, 2, 3, go, go, go.
You know, you hear those words, I can't breathe, and of course, you know, this is before George Floyd, and one of the last words of George Floyd, I can't breathe.
Nah, he's stuck there. So
It puts you right back in your history. You're wearing 200 years of that because that's what that looks like. Black lives have mattered here.
I'm freaking stunned.
I didn't think they was gonna bring Black Lives Matters in this.
I'm freaking stunned.
This is all related. It's crazy.
It's related.
It's a full circle. Wow.
We open the film talking about our histories.
Yeah. Wow, this full circle right here.
I'm stunned. I don't even have the words to explain what I am. And that's why when, you know, sometimes we get hate comments when we talk about things like this that's going on in other countries, the injustices, and people will say, focus on your own, what?
Yeah, no, you're good.
People will say, focus on what's going on there. Oh, we know we got a lot of BS going on here. We talk about that too. But I'm just...
Hi, let's get into it.
60,000 years. It's not new to us, the idea that Black Lives Matter. It may be new to other people. We know our lives mattered. But you know, the Black Lives Matter movement that we've seen spread around the world can't begin to grapple with the injustice of Australia. It can't begin. Racism is not a big enough word to describe what's happened here.
We still under the caste system. That's what it is. Legally.
These are the pictures that caused a furore when shown on ABC News last night. Two police officers at an Outback charity function openly mocking Aborigines who died in custody.
Whoa!
Wow.
These are the people you have to go to for justice. These are the people you have to go to investigate crimes. What sort of a twisted mind thinks that is in any way funny? And no one is stopping him.
Nobody.
They're supposed to be in the room together.
They tried to put us in our place and they tried to tell us that you need to accept this decision, but we're saying, no, that's not going to happen.
Because of the pressure you keep applying, because of the demands the family keep making, I know the Attorney General is seeking the advice right now. And if an appeal can be lodged in the High Court, we'll let that run through.
Having received the advices last night of 3 senior counsel, I've decided to make an application for special leave to appeal to the High Court.
You say special leave.
The significance of this case cannot be underestimated. It's the first time the New South Wales government has gone all the way to the High Court to challenge a unanimous decision made by 3 judges in the Criminal Court of Appeal.
20 years of work and the struggle for the families could be coming to a conclusion today. The fact that this decision could come down to an interpretation of the law on a particular word, it's hard to fathom that the whole thing hinges on an interpretation of a word.
It all goes back to this single word in the legislation, adduced, and the definition of that word. You've got the prosecution saying this evidence about Colleen's disappearance has not been heard before, therefore it's fresh and compelling. You've got Jay's lawyers saying this evidence about Colleen's disappearance has not been heard before, but it could have been heard before, therefore it's not fresh.
Oh,
and the appeal judges agree with those lawyers.
How? The investigation, stop that.
Today, the High Court rejected any chance of a retrial, sparking scenes of despair and disgust.
When they
with
read
that
it
manly
out
handball.
that there was not
That's
going
cold.
to be a retrial. It was like a kick in the guts, an uppercut up the jaw, and then a kick in the head too when I was down on the ground. Like, that's what it felt like.
I don't know if all of you followed all of that argument up there, but it was about the meaning of the word adduced. A word you have to go and open a dictionary to find out even exists. And then that ends up being the barrier to getting justice today.
One word.
One word. One word.
One word for 3 lives.
Yeah.
And
how is that justice?
It's not.
We are not giving up.
Yeah.
Like I say, you though.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even be there when they did it, huh?
The protest. He couldn't be there for the
Mrs.
protest.
Hart, I just want to say sorry. The system has let you down. When you said to me 22 years ago that no one cares because we're black, I scratched my head and thought you were... I didn't think that was right. I didn't think we could be like that. I stand here confidently saying that's exactly what's happened. And it's a disgrace. This is not a good day. This is a horrible day. I'm gutted. And again, I say sorry because the system has let you down. So, guys, look, I've learned so much working.
Bro, even he had to walk with them to believe that it's because their skin color is the reason why they can't get justice.
Right.
On first, like he just said, he said, I ain't believe that. I thought like everybody else thought. You know, it's not because y'all black.
Right.
This is what it is. Just how the things is operating around here. We good, we good. He walked with them people for 20 years, and then he came to a conclusion after 20 years. I agree with y'all.
He had a paradigm shift.
Sad, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy.
You've taught me so much, so thank you. Cheers.
I am a victim of a very poor investigation.
Jay feels like he has been pursued unfairly for years over this case, and he feels that the courts have vindicated him. So Jay probably feels that he has been the victim of a witch hunt here.
I've tried for as long as I can to just put this behind me. It's ruined my life, it's ruined everyone's life around me, and I want nothing more to do with it.
But not once did he say, I hope they found the person that did it.
Of course.
Not once did he say that. I just wanted to point that out. Because a person who knows he's innocent will be on the side of the family saying, I hope y'all find justice. I hope y'all can get this case closed where y'all can find out who did it and put him in jail. Dude kept walking off with his head down saying, I don't want nothing to do with it.
But his lawyer said
I'm out of it.
The evidence in her case could have been tried, but it wasn't. So it's not fresh, other than talking about his innocence.
Right, and from a law, that's another red flag. And from a lawyer perspective, it's like what she's basically saying is they had evidence that they could have used, but what if they try to hold it against us because they knew it was gonna keep telling them no, type stuff. You know what I'm saying?
He's been at the centre of some of the state's biggest investigations: the search for William Tyrrell, the Bowraville murders, and the death of Matthew Levison. But police allege that in his search for answers, the detective crossed the line.
Wow.
This is my last day as a New South Wales police officer.
Wow.
I've been charged with 4 criminal offences. It's been alleged that I've done is that I've unlawfully recorded a conversation that I had with a person of interest in the William Tyrrell matter.
I was just totally disgusted, you know. I knew that was going to happen. Soon as he picked up for us at the parliamentary inquiry and he said, you know, racism played a part in this, I knew then that they were going to gun for him.
I wasn't supported with the Bowraville investigation. The Bowraville investigation was a rock around the police's neck. They just wanted to go away.
Top Detective Gary Jubelin has received an extraordinary show of support as he faced court for the first time on misconduct charges.
So wait a minute, time out, bro. Their lawyer, he's a lawyer, correct?
No, he's
the homicide investigator. Out of all of this that went down, he's the one who's about to go to jail.
Well, let's hope he ain't going to jail.
I'm just saying, because they putting all this stuff on him now, he got to go to court because he's getting charged.
And he was a lead
on
a lot of cases that were solved.
And the second that he goes after a case like this,
Any of the criminals that I've come up against in my career would be salivating over the fact that it appears that I'm in trouble.
You know, I'm proud of you, what you achieved, what you've gone through over these 30 years. You've come a long way. And you wasn't a bad mother. You was a good mother. We can't bring her back, but we'll get her justice. That's the one thing I'll promise you. And I'll always be there to support you. You know that.
what a turn. Boy, this case took a turn. Wow.
Years and I still haven't got Colleen, and it's really hard.
Oh, that's how long.
That's how long the case was open for.
Y'all, I'm thinking it was some. Yeah, I thought it was somebody's birthday. I didn't even take in account of
the
their
handprint.
handprints.
Yeah, for justice. It's been 30 years that they've been fighting for this.
That she been missing. Ooh.
Yeah, you're always, you get emotional around this time of the year because it always brings up the feelings of not knowing where she is.
Well, I'd like to thank yous all for coming today. I know it means a lot to Mum and Dad to have yous all here. Still can't believe that it has been 30 years since Colleen's been gone.
Yeah, it's 30 years of our life that we missed and we didn't have the opportunity to share with our sister. She's never going to be forgotten. And we miss her.
Thank yous. We might get some photos while we're all here together. Because we have never found Colleen, her spirit is lost. We're very spiritual people. Aboriginal people are spiritual. And we're hanging on to any hope that we could find Colleen and put her to rest.
Hey, careful, put your hands out, bro. No one fall over.
Now we need to get together again, do this, after our last time together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Well, you tell us then, eh? This way over here, look. I feel a bit sad being here now, but I'm looking at the sign and I think we could do it up again, and it just makes us feel better if we did that, eh?
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, for sure.
We could do that. Our fight for justice may be exhausted some way, somehow, but coming back and touching this up and doing it up again, well, that's just, reinforcing our love for Bubby and our memories of him and whoever it was that done this to him, and we're letting them know. We're reminding them that we haven't forgotten and we won't. I'd give anything to have one more hug with you, my boy.
If it was 3 white kids, heaven and earth would have been moved for them. People should be outraged and shocked and disgusted that this has happened in our society, but no one was. And even still today, no one is.
I want them children to be at peace, because they're not. We carry them 3 kids every day, and that's a lifetime sentence.
What happens in these places are often never spoken of. It disappears into this great Australian silence. People can lose their lives, and we fail to notice. Out of sight, out of mind.
Think that's a wrap. Alright, we're gonna stop right there, man. Alright. Yeah, like I said, this took a curve, man. Whew. So at the end of the day, like, people just gotta have that uncomfortable truth brought to them that you're looking at people that are in position. I'm talking about in the courthouse, like real high powers. You're looking at people that are sitting in the same seat who have looked at segregation and racism when it was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And then but we have to go back to their courthouses and act for justice. It's like, you're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a fight, and it will always be that.
Right.
That's just the uncomfortable truth.
Just the fact that there were people here, their families, who were not born when these cases happened.
20
who's
years.
fighting for justice, and they're adults now.
Generations. Yep.
I'm heartbroken. I really am. I don't have an ounce of what the family's feeling, but I am heartbroken.
That's hard, yeah.
Like, there was a moment during this documentary where I was like, yes, we about to get him.
Mm-hmm.
He walked out talking about he a big...
That's cool. Like I said, we didn't hear nothing about him saying that he wants justice for the family. All he kept saying was he was innocent. That was it.
All right, y'all. That's the video. Thank you guys for watching it with us.
Facts.
To our supporter, Lucas, who is the family of Colleen.
Mm-hmm.
All
condolences, man, to all families.
Yeah,
really.
The fact that this is our supporters' family.
Yeah, it hit hard.
It's. I don't even have the right words to say, but we're gonna connect with him on our own.
Yeah.
But all of these families, our hearts are really with y'all, for real. We didn't watch. I don't know. Now the video may be shorter, maybe about an hour 30 minutes, maybe about 2 hours, but we literally sat here a straight run, just connecting with this, and
yeah,
this was hard. But thank you guys for watching it. We'll see you soon. Peace.